With so many of us working from home right now, I've been wondering what has it been like for outdoor marketing, the billboards? Not so many people seeing them as once before, but has that changed how the industry is operating? Lauren Van Haaren joins us now. She's a marketing and communications manager for Brooklyn Outdoor. Lauren, great to have you with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
You have one of the coolest backdrops.
Yeah, you know what? This is our office. So, I mean, kind of gives you a little sneak peek of what we do with the hand painted murals behind me.
That is so cool. So, for those not familiar with the company, give us a little bit of history on Brooklyn Outdoor.
So, we are a Detroit based out of home advertising company, which prior to joining the company, I really didn't know much about out of home sales, which is basically any kind of advertisement that you see outside of your home, especially billboards is our main ad.
So, what's it been like from an industry standpoint throughout the COVID-19 crisis with so many people not driving near as much as they once did?
I mean, to be honest, it totally flipped our industry upside down.
Because
But
who would ever imagine, right? No way.
I mean, it changed a lot of industries, and for out of home, it was definitely interesting in the fact that people were not leaving their homes. And especially for myself, I manage all of the marketing, so it was kind of hard to, not kind of, I'm downplaying that, hard to advertise for wanting people to see ads outside of their home, but also, wanting to be a part of keeping everyone safe. So, it was definitely a tricky time.
We almost needed a maybe a platform that was, or a marketing slogan that was like, just go for a Sunday drive. Don't get out of your car. Just go for a Sunday drive.
I mean, the industry didn't die, but it changed the way that we marketed. So people were still leaving their homes, but it was with more like of an intention to buy. Like you're leaving to run to the grocery store, you're leaving to run to the drugstore to get something. So instead of, more trying to target people on like big freeways and stuff, we were moving ads closer to where people live.
And how do you do that from like a logistics standpoint? Because a billboard is one thing, but how do you take it to a smaller venue? Like, I don't even know. I'm thinking more like, benches at the bus stop, maybe.
We're very fortunate in that aspect because a lot of our inventory is those smaller formats that you see. We do have like bus benches here in Detroit. We're the sole advertiser for Mogo bike share. So very community driven, very close to home. And throughout the last year and a half, we've actually been working with DDOT to install 59 bus shelters throughout the city. So, with that, we were definitely able to reach people closer to their homes.
So I will say over the years, I think billboards have gotten much better, especially the ones like they change, and I'm guessing that's the technology, a change in the technology.
Yeah, it's been a big change. So, traditional billboards are the oldest format of advertising and they're not going away. But especially throughout the pandemic, utilizing digital advertising has really been something because we can change it within like a matter of minutes. And throughout the pandemic, you have to be very careful with your messaging. So the advance in technology has been a huge help for us.
So with that, have you had to change as well the industries that you target? Because people aren't going to concerts, we're not going to ball games, but we are buying groceries.
We've actually seen a lot more of like business to business messaging and a lot of communication shifting towards like, hey, we're still here. The grocery store is on this exit. So instead of more maybe promoting sales, it's been a lot of community driven messaging or just letting people know like, hey, I'm here, I'm a resource.
So with that, we're speaking with Lauren is it Haaren or Haaren?
Van Haren.
Van
Yeah.
Haaren. She's the marketing and communications manager for Brooklyn Outdoor. And with that, Lauren, we hope that businesses, everyone's had to pivot and shift throughout the pandemic. Because of that, has your company and the business industry found any silver linings in the middle of the pandemic?
Yeah, we did. It brought us back to our roots when we're working as sales consultants to direct our clients and make sure that they're making the best informed choices that they can make. So it really brought us back to the data. And like you said earlier, people aren't driving as much, but we're able to track that through our measuring tools and see people actually moving. And I think it really brought us back to the core of using data to drive decisions.
And with that, when you're working with businesses, budgets can be tight, although we know some businesses are actually thriving throughout the pandemic, but for a lot of them, that bottom line can be tight. And advertising typically seems to be one of the first areas a company will cut their budget. But we also know in the middle of a crisis, you need to be able to try to reach as many people. So, what have those conversations been like with some of your clients to convince them you need to keep your advertising budget now more than ever?
Yeah, it is, in advertising, marketing, communications, all of that is usually the first one to go in a budget. But data actually really shows that companies who continue to market through a recession or through a pandemic actually fare weather when they come out. I mean, if you think of if all of your competitors stopped marketing, but you did, you're the face that's on the horizon. And like I said earlier, instead of stopping all advertising. It's really just saying you want to be where the people are when they're making the purchase, where they're informed. So it's just really about making smarter choices.
So, what do you think the long term impact is going to be on this industry?
Actually, it's been really interesting. I mean, 2020 was not good for us to say the least, but we're actually having one of the best years that we've ever had. And I guess I would say that ad dollars have been maybe pushed to 2021 that were, relocated from 2020. And it also is kind of like, you had the Great Depression and then you had the Roaring 20s. I think it's, a setback is a setup for a comeback. And, people are ready to get out there and get out of home, as we would say.
Right? That is so true. Everyone is definitely feeling the fatigue of the pandemic. How much do you think it's going to also help your industry and your business once the state's restrictions on office work is lifted, as more and more people start to go back to the offices?
Well, we're in sales, so a lot of human connection, even just in like building relationships, like internally making sales, is going to be huge for us. I mean, that part of human connection doesn't go away through the recession, and I think we're all missing it. And I think that's something that's specifically going to really drive our industry forward.
I went to Detroit the other day, and I'm so used to those bottlenecks of knowing where, that pinch point is that you're going to be stuck in traffic. And it was really weird not to be stuck in traffic on the highway as you're traveling some of these places. I will say, I guess we're going to be going into construction season, because when it comes to seeing a billboard, you notice it more so when you're stuck and you're forced to look around.
Fine. Yeah, you must have not taken 75.
So no, I didn't. I took Woodward. So with that too, it is a construction season can be a good thing for your industry. Do you guys ever look at that, like where the big construction projects are going to be, to place billboards along that route?
I mean, that's a smart thing. We definitely should be looking at construction, but we definitely do look at traffic flows and the amount of time that people are, when traffic's halted, you definitely get a lot more visibility. There's a thing about repetition is impressions, but the time that people are viewing it definitely makes an impact.
So with that, Lauren, as well, do you help clients with their messaging as well?
We can and we will. So we're not so much on the agency side, would more help with the creative messaging. We're kind of the we help you place it. So this, whether it's our owned inventory, we have a space, you have a message, we're gonna inform you on the best possible place to put it.
Lauren Van Haaren with us here on the MegaCast. She's the marketing and communications manager for Brooklyn Outdoor. I know that you have satellite offices, not just here in Detroit, but LA and Chicago. What's it been like to try to navigate this in other states as well?
Well, specifically in Los Angeles, it's been a little tricky. I mean, it's, with their population, it's no surprise that COVID has hit really hard there. So, I mean, the traffic patterns in all different cities and restrictions are, something that we've been having to navigate. And we have a really strong team, with the people who are working in those other cities. But as far as, external forces, it's something that we consistently have to keep a pulse on.
So with that, Lauren, what advice would you give to maybe a recent college graduate looking at going into this industry? Is now a good time or should they wait?
I think it's a great time. As I was mentioning earlier, everybody's like getting back to their roots and, as far as making smart choices, informed choices, I think that, moving forward, everybody in the industry is really excited to feel back alive. And I definitely would recommend it. Advertising, even throughout the pandemic, we're not going anywhere. And I didn't know how much I would enjoy out of home until I was in it.
Right. Well, that's good. So with that, Lauren, too, anything maybe I didn't touch on that you want to share about Brooklyn Outdoor before we say goodbye today?
Yeah, I mean, one of the really cool aspects about Brooklyn Outdoor is that we're a woman owned and predominantly woman operated company, which is something that's really different in the advertising world. It can kind of tend to be like an old boys club. And, from our company, we do offer like a very fresh perspective and, unique take on it from that aspect. And we're actually hiring right now. So for those recent college grads or people with industry experience, shoot me an email.
See, I love that. Girl power, activate.
We're all about it.
Well, Lauren, it's been great having you with us here on the MegaCast. We appreciate your time. And also, again, who did the mural behind you? Do you know the artist?
Yeah, so we actually have two behind us. So the one on this side, this is from Wheezy. And this one on this side is Michelle Tangway. So they're two women, again, local muralists. You can actually, in Eastern Market, see a collaboration mural between the two, which is really cool.
You know, the thing I love about what's happening at Eastern Market is they're no longer, it's not so much the illegal graffiti, because you would have an amazing piece of work and then someone would come and take over it. And now, because so much of it is that sanctioned art, there seems to be a respect amongst that the artist group to let an individual's work shine. And I think that's such a great thing because Eastern Market is highlighting the talent that we have here throughout Detroit and beyond.
Actually, I'm really happy that you brought that up. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Murals in the Market Festival, but last year it didn't happen because of COVID. But for the previous 5 years, there's been like an outdoor mural festival, interactive festival that brings talent from locally here in Detroit, all over the US, to create these murals throughout the market. And we're actually one of the founding sponsors. So it's a good thing to be a part of.
Oh, that's great. So do you anticipate it's going to happen this year?
I haven't heard the word. I'm hoping so. I mean, restrictions are constantly changing with COVID and especially outdoors as, has been opening up. So, we're hopeful. I would love to.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Well, Lauren, thank you again for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Again, it says Brooklyn Outdoor. If you want to find more, you can go to their website. And again, they're looking for someone to join their team. If you're talented and eager, please consider Brooklyn Outdoor.